Ladies and gentlemen, the official off-season has begun as the Habs wrapped up their season on Wednesday and Thursday against the New York Islanders and Boston Bruins. Ended up losing both games, but we are officially now in the off-season as God has finally delivered the mercy kill and the final kill shot on this really, really long season. So I'm just going to be going over those two games on the recap in this episode of Chris's Habs Corner. And I'm going to be doing a whole season review in another episode some point this weekend. So let's get right into it. Yeah, so the Habs came into New York on Wednesday night. Islanders fighting for their playoff lives. All they needed was 1 point. Just basically get the game to overtime, even if they lost, and they clinched that last playoff spot over Pittsburgh. So you knew it was going to be a playoff atmosphere in this game. The game was in New York. They missed the playoffs last year, so this is going to be the first time in a couple of years. You knew they were going to come out hard, hungry. Basically the game of the season for them. We were just playing the spoiler role in this game. It was pretty much what I expected. New York fed off of their crowd. The crowd was just electric in that building. And they really fed off of it and controlled a lot of the game tonight. Just took charge and really controlled the play a lot of times. Just being the more assertive team, which, as expected, they're trying to will their way into the playoffs in front of their home crowd. You could see that New York's really good north-south type of style of hockey that they play. Just simple. They play a really simple game, kind of an old-fashioned, old-school game, just hard hitting along the boards, heavy cycle game. Just utilize their D at the point and just get pucks funneled towards the net. Off the cycle, they throw a lot of pucks towards the net, and they have a lot of guys just crashing the net, fighting for positioning, screening Montembeault a lot of times. They're not really a flashy team with a lot of slippery, shifty, skilled players that can do nice little give and goes, nice little fancy plays to create space for themselves. They're just more of a heavy, simple, hard-hitting north-south type of team, which you can argue is really utilize that type of play in the playoffs. The playoffs, it all comes down to the had a hard time clearing out net front presence from a lot of the Islanders forwards. So you can't really blame him on a lot of those goals. He held his ground, I think. Pitlick had a nice goal off of that rush with Evans on that one-timer. Again, Pitlick, just a utility player, can plug him in anywhere on the lineup, and he'll play some sort of positive role on that line. Again, I've always thought he has a really, really sneakily good shot that no one really talks about. Pitlick really knows how to wire the puck home pretty accurately. I think out of all the forwards we have, he's one of the best off the rush at just taking one-timer shots and just being able to bury them. And he did that tonight with his one-timer. So that was good for him. I think that was his 7th on the year, I believe. And then we saw Nick Suzuki's goal of the year when the Habs were on the penalty kill. Kind of a loose puck at the far blue line, and Nick Suzuki raced for it and kind of one arm shoved the defenseman back, and with one hand on his stick, literally on his backhand, just stabbed at the puck, and it went right past Sorokin. Just a backhand, one-handed shot, just rolled right past him. That was pretty incredible to see. It's arguably probably his best goal of the year. At least effort-wise, maybe not the flashy skill-wise, but so that was pretty impressive. Other than New York, controlling the play and just coming on hard in this game, only really other thing that stood out to me was how a lot of times the neutral zone was pretty open for Habs players to build up a lot of speed. There's a, you know, we saw a lot of forwards being able to just skate right through players in open skating lanes through the neutral zone and just generate odd man rushes that way. So there was open space a lot of times going through the neutral zone. But like I said, I had a gut feeling before we went into this game that there was no way we were going to come out with a win in this game. I pretty much was dead on. New York was not going to lose this game. This was their season right here, right in front of their crowd. So I had to give it to them. Good for them that they made the playoffs, after their frustrating season last year. And what are you going to do? Helps us out in the tanking situation anyways. Yep. So then after that, Habs flew back home to Montreal. Last game of the season at Centre Bell against the Bruins. I have to say, I kind of actually liked the move by Boston to dress all their players. You would have normally thought they locked up the President's Trophy. They broke the record for most wins. They broke the record for most amount of points in a single season that we actually held from the 76-77 season. They had nothing to play for in this game. Just get through this game and get back. Get ready for the playoffs for them. And just go through the motions in this game. So normally, you'd call up over half of your AHL roster and suit them up for this game and just leave all your starters at home, which I guess they had already done in the previous 2 or 3 games before this game. But a lot of their starters were getting restless and they wanted to not lose the flow and the mojo going into the playoffs. So they brought in the majority of their lineup played this game like it was just another regular season game. And I like that because in a way, it kind of respects the rivalry between the Habs and the Bruins. It kind of kept it real a little bit, made it a little bit more meaningful of a game for us as well, knowing that they had their full lineup in there and they were trying to stay competitive and they were trying to take it to us, even though they had nothing to play for. Made it like an actual, a thrilling, meaningful game in a way, in a sense, even though it wasn't. So I kind of like that. My overall thoughts on this game, again, main net in this game, Lucas Condotta, first NHL game. Kent Hughes, out of respect, called him up, gave him his first shot in the NHL after spending the whole season down in Laval. Don't really know a whole lot about him, just know he's a hard-working third, fourth line grinder kind of player, heavy in front of the net. Heavy cycle game along the boards, strong on the puck along the boards, that kind of player. Teasdale and Allard back in again in this game after playing Wednesday night, and he actually scored on his first NHL shift there. That was pretty cool to see. Off of that tip-in deflection right in front of the net when the puck was bouncing. Went right over Jeremy, I think it was Jeremy Swayman's glove, so that was pretty cool to see. Just his reaction, first NHL shift, first goal there, just totally losing his mind, couldn't believe it was actually happening, so that was cool. I thought that both teams really they were pretty good at anticipating the plays on the forecheck in that first period. Forcing Boston to making a lot of decisions they didn't want to make. Just a lot of quick, in-your-face plays that they made in the offensive zone there. The Bruins didn't look that sharp. They did not look to be making too good of decisions, with the puck in that first period. You could see the Habs did a pretty good job a lot of times stretching out the neutral zone. Made pretty good stretch passes. Got a lot of speed underneath the Bruins' defense. We had a lot of odd man rushes in this game. Both ways, going both ways. It was a really fast-paced, furious, tempoed kind of game. We weren't lollygagging, making simple plays. We were making more authoritative stretch passes, just making those high-caliber plays when we could. But, you could also see that Boston's just a really well-organized team, structured pretty well, all have support in all three areas of the ice, always seem to retain the puck on broken plays, and just have people in the area around each other constantly, no matter where the puck is in any area, and they're just able to just play give and go and just skate through the defense with each other in unison. Like I've talked about before when the other games we played Boston this year, they're just so in sync with each other, and they all know where each other's going to be and what they're going to do on all four lines, and that allows them to be that organized and have that kind of a game. Even in the offensive zone, when they turn it up into a positionless hockey, and there's just all five guys just cycling high and low, all areas of the offensive zone, they all know where each other's going to be, and they're all just kind of in an area to support one another constantly, no matter what. So that is really challenging to play against. You could see the Habs tried their best, but they got lost playing man on man in the defensive zone against that a lot of times. Lost the feel of the structure, lost their man, lost a lot of inside positioning at times, just off of the chaos they create from the positionless hockey. And they're really good at clearing pucks out in front of their net. The Habs had a lot of chances to get in around Jeremy Swayman, and Boston just really good at clearing rebounds, making sure no second, third chances come along. They have a strong, good defensive awareness in front of their own net. So that's, trademarks of a President's Trophy winning team. All those descriptions that I just made, it's just the footprints of basically the best NHL team in a regular season in NHL history right there. Nick Suzuki, another goal. Joel Edmondson took a wrist shot from the blue line. It was 4-on-4 in that point. Both teams took a minor penalty. I forget exactly what the instance was. Nick Suzuki tipped it in, 26th goal of the year, ties Cole Caulfield. 26 goals now, something like 41, 42 assists on the year. A record year from him. He just keeps improving incrementally each year. So I think he hit a record in goals scored and a record in assists this year. So as long as the improvement in consistency and improvement, moves along each year for him, it just gets better and better. I'd like to see realistically 2 or 3 years from now he could be I think he could be a point per game player. I don't think he's there yet. I think he has some improvement and work to do, and I think he needs some continuity with Cole Caulfield in a full season, and one more complementary player that can just stick on that line with him, and all three can stay together for a year or two, and I really think he can be a point per game player. We saw a wild play with Michael Pezzetta and Rem Pitlick. Rem Pitlick, right after a penalty kill, comes in for a loose puck, and Jeremy Swayman's coming out of the net to grab the puck, and Pitlick just strips it from him, skates around him, wide open, empty net, and he could have just taken the shot. He chose to defer it to Pezzetta, and Pezzetta just buried it in the back of the net. Put the Habs up 3-2 in that one, in that instance. So that was pretty sweet to see. We saw Justin Barron get a goal tonight. Habs were on a penalty kill. They were pretty aggressive on the penalty kill all night, really anticipating a lot of plays at the blue line. They were breaking up a lot of plays. Had a lot of odd man rushes on the penalty kill tonight. They were pretty aggressive, taking away a lot of Boston's time and space on the penalty kill there. We saw that sort of 2-on-1, 3-on. It was almost a 3-on-1 at one point. And Evans drove towards the net after a rebound, kind of lost the puck, but Barron, took a mental picture, saw that he could go down ice and join the rush because he had a few players behind him. So good hockey IQ on his part, and he just had a wide open high slot with the puck coming right towards him, and he just ripped a one-timer right in the back of the net, put the Habs up 4-3. That would prove to be the last goal for the Habs on the season. Justin Barron's goal. The Bruins came back and scored a couple goals. I believe the game winner was David Pasternak's goal, his 61st of the season. Pretty sustained offensive zone time the last 2 minutes of the game. Suzuki kind of was in. I really wanted to just go out with a bang against Boston and just, man, it would have been sweet to just send our crowd home on a freaking high note, knowing that we have beaten the Bruins on our last game of the season on home ice, and just go out on a positive note. So it's going to leave a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth that we lost this game right at the end of the season to them, and that we weren't able to just go out with a bang. But the storyline at the beginning of the year was, we were going to be engaged in each game. We were going to be there. We weren't going to just go through the motions and kind of half-ass these games. What you saw tonight, the players were engaged. You could tell they really wanted to show up and play against the Bruins in this rivalry game, even though it's the last game of the season and it meant nothing. Martin St. Louis kept them focused and in it the whole game. And at the end of the day, we lost, but we were competitive. We were competitive this whole game. We showed up to play. That's really all you can ask of this team, especially under the circumstances we've been through all year. So the Habs officially locked up that 5th to last spot in the standings, which means on draft lottery day, we're going to finish no less than 7th to last, guaranteed, depending on what happens in the lottery. But more than likely, we're going to get a top 5 pick. So nothing but good news about that. I mean, Jesus, this year's draft with the amount of talent that's loaded in it, and we're going to get a top 5 pick most likely is pretty solid, We have an 8.5% chance at the Connor Bedard sweepstakes, but I'm not putting my hopes up on that too much. I really don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. So, that's good news. I'm going to be doing a whole episode this weekend on the season review and what's gone on this season, and just go break everything down, talk about the off season, player grades, coach grades, just where I think the team's direction is going, all that stuff in depth. It's going to be a pretty lengthy episode, so stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe to this channel, trying to hit 100 subscribers. Please and thank you, and I will talk to you soon.